So
This meeting is being recorded.
amazing. Okay, well, hey everybody, and welcome to the group coaching call in my Facebook group. Glad to have you all in here today. I have Coach Heck here, Dr. Jemay, and I'm sure more people will be popping in as this call goes on. But Coach Heck is one of my one-on-one clients, and we were talking through how his emails are flowing. He's launching his amazing coaching program, the High Performance Athletic Blueprint, Athlete Blueprint. And we have an email sequence going out to his list to kind of like get them introduced to things, and then we'll add them in. So let me pull up our notes. And usually for these calls, I don't share my screen, but I will for this one because I think it'll help.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're going to be working on the Google Doc, right?
Yes. So love it. And then I would say the 1 minute change that resets your standard. So for you, we want to think about if this is the first email that people are getting, it's not just a 1 minute change. It's um, I would say something like big changes coming to help you finish 2025 strong and start stronger. How do you feel about that?
Let's leave it right here so we don't make such a long title, but let's just leave it right here if that's what we want to do.
Yeah, perfect.
And then a preview text introducing a new program that will help you grow on and off the field.
And what we could do is
let's shorten this and just say let's help you grow.
for this. You like that instead of big changes? Fabulous.
So
okay.
I went ahead and did almost everything else in here, made the changes you want. I need to kind of. Yeah, this is what we did yesterday, so that wasn't.
This is good. Again, same thing.
I almost can just. I do want to keep a safe space think tank and weekly parent huddle. The very first thing yesterday on my consultation that I had with the parent and the son.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing that Dad said is, "We're all alone." And this is the first thing that I think I've seen. This is the first thing I've seen that really incorporates us and gives us a place to work and grow and learn. I mean, he flat out said he said there's nothing like this.
Because
he said I wanted to know if this was just for the parents, or if this was for the parents and the kids. So we went through everything. And he said, I have not, he said, I am all alone in everything that I'm going through. And he's got an 8th grader that he's raising in Canada that wants to play American football. And he said, I have nowhere to turn. He said, I'm trying to do everything I can. And everybody I think is just taking my money. And he said, to be honest with you, he said, I got on with you just to see if you were real.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious as to what were the words that he said, there's nothing like this. I need someone, instead of, he didn't say that he needed a think tank, and he didn't say he needed a parent huddle. He said he needs like a place.
A support system. He needs a support system. He said there's no place where he can, but I want to use, here's what I want to use, because I want to use the weekly parent huddle and the think tank, because there's two reasons why I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
One, parents understand in this space, parents understand that they're never going to go through this again. This is not something that they use twice.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them have one child that goes through this, and they raise one child that they're lucky if they have a second child that is an athlete that comes through middle school and high school, and they play, if they get one. The other thing is, when you say think tank, that gives them a visual, and when I worked at all the SEO stuff and everything, those two words, parent huddle, think tank, those were words that were used in SEO terms that I'm going to keep repeating. You know, you're not alone. We're going to be in this together. We're creating a weekly huddle that becomes a think tank because we're all going through this together. And normally what one parent maybe in California is going through, there's 20 other parents on the East Coast that
I
are
think
going
that
through the
that
same
is
thing.
fine.
But I do want to, that's why I kind of put that in. And when I explained that to that dad, when I said, listen, this is
I
what
think
this
the Lord's
is.
lean on imply support, because I think that like I like this. Okay, I think it's good.
Yep.
And then I made a couple of other edits.
Yeah, and I went ahead and
Yeah, they look
those.
good. This is looking so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
I need you to focus on
The second
this,
one. Yeah, I
and
double
we already
checked it.
did this. We already did email 2 for the athlete.
Yeah,
This is the one we did
we
together.
combined. I just wanted to double check it before it was sent because there were some things that I was like, let me just double check it. I would say let's underline this over
No,
this.
which I don't want to.
Because again, this goes for everybody that's listening to this in the future too. You just always want to think about what is gonna get them to buy. Okay, I like this. Like this. Reflected, I think, is actually are reflected.
I think this gets a little long in here between this as I look at it. I don't know if we can take something out.
List.
I love this because I'll use this a ton. Leaders are built, not born.
Yeah. So hold on. Jeez.
I'm afraid down here they won't even get to it.
So statistically, the two things that people read more than anything are the PS and the hook. 80% of people only read the hook, and then another 70% only read the PS. It's funny how things work out like that, but that's what data shows. Love it.
Do we need this?
Yeah, yeah. Because we want to, if messaging back, remember, creates engagement. I love it. Okay.
So this I built. Oops, sorry.
You're good.
This I built. So then the parent email I built off very similarly.
Yeah, I just want to check this. If you
But do we not already say that up here?
This is about the resources. This is about the program. More to come over the next couple of weeks. Keep an eye. How about that? We can take out the message if you have questions, because I do agree it's redundant. Okay, I like it. And then you'll have like Coach Heck. Like for me, I like to do my signature.
Yeah, but
And then
that's already in. That's auto on my email, so you can leave that.
okay. There we go. I like it. Okay, good.
So you want the PS after the signature?
No, it's okay. If you've already got this, I know what you mean. It's okay as far as it is. Dr. Jemay, I saw you jump on it. I was like, I saw a fountain, and I was like, oh, I was like so exciting. I love it. Okay, let's see here. Day 2. Step 1 for families start in the mirror. I would just say that, yeah, I would. Yeah, and I would just delete the start in the mirror because it just doesn't. Oh, sorry. Too many people editing. I'll start looking at the rest of it. And then I would delete the assembly night check. Can I delete this? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because you already said finish. Yep. Okay, great. Looks good. Check here. I like this. This is great.
How do you do that? How do you take spaces out?
So it's just a weird thing when chat makes things. It literally it's not like it's a formatting thing. It's literally like an actual space.
But how are you doing that?
I just delete it.
Oh.
So it's like it would be like me going like this.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
But I can't get like between downloading and man, if I wanted to take that space out, how do I get that?
Download. Oh, here you go. You click here, and you go format, lines and spacing.
Up here.
So it might be a space here. Usually it's a formatting issue. So like here it usually goes format, lines and spacing. It's being funky. It's like
yeah. But we can talk about that later because you got somebody else.
Yeah. No, you're good. I'm just like, yeah, I would just leave it. I think it's okay. I just wouldn't say is it an act. I wouldn't say, oh gosh, I don't know why I just did that. How we're not including. So this one doesn't have the little. Did we have a little bit more in the kid version?
No.
Yeah, there was more. I like this one better. This one versus this one you're sending to parents. I like this one. Can we send the same thing to both of them?
Yeah, we can do whatever you want to do.
Fabulous. And I wouldn't say family edition. I would just say.
Oh, you're sending the same mirror code?
Yeah, because I just don't like this one as much because there's not enough.
I know. I just changed it. I added the wrong one.
No worries. No worries.
So,
I think it looks good though.
So this one is the updated one. This one's the updated one for the parents. But I don't know how to take these spaces out. Go here.
There we go.
Yeah. I just had the wrong one. Line and paragraph spacing. See, I don't know why it doesn't
You can just hit the backspace there, and at least that's a little bit better.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
We're gonna do the same thing that we did for the kids.
You're making that a PS.
Yeah, because I want more people to read this. And they just get lost in the sauce when it comes to body. Okay, so it's like, so here's the thing. We want to be thinking about always when you're writing copy, you want to be thinking what are people like looking to read? And it says why the mirror first for families. And I think for you here, that's not like I think that this is so strong. Kids don't just hear us, they become what we repeat. So it's like here's how to like to set the state like I would just change like we need a different sentence there. Something that actually like ties it in better.
Then why don't we do this? Here's
because they don't understand. We need to tie it from mirror to their problems.
right. Here's why we focus on the mirror first.
Well, it's like let me click on this. Let me say it's the last sentence here. It's like on the mirror code first. That's fine. It's like another weird thing that chat does for anyone who uses chat to write stuff is it includes a space randomly after every second sentence in the paragraph or second paragraph. I would finish it like you finished this one. You said, I'm going to be sending you 2 more resources. I would just leave it. I don't think that like the film, I like this. I would just make it simple.
Take this out, not this.
Yeah, because this is more about the program.
You want to take this out?
I think if anything, we move it here. But it's not like, so when you say this is the first step in our think tank, people think that the first step is the mirror code, not just, so yeah, I just think just take it out entirely. And then here, take this out too. But this looks good.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Good.
I think it's better. Like, do you see what I mean? And that goes for everybody, like, that studies everyone. That studies everyone.
I'm going to say a simple check that studies everyone.
And in your family. Like, okay, that I think is better. Because then it's like, because we don't want to say like it's just for families and all these, but I like that better.
Sure.
Okay, cool. I like it. Okay, this looks awesome. Go and give that to Mercedes.
We're going to set that up right now. Beck. We're getting on it.
Just those first 2.
Yep.
I would have still took a look at these.
Yeah, no, we got to go through those.
So we still got to get through a couple more, but that's why we're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, is it tomorrow we have the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at the rest of them tomorrow.
Okay.
But I think overall the rest is looking like you're getting it now. You're seeing what I'm saying. And I think it's just gonna keep getting better the more we make these edits.
Right.
But it looks good.
All right. We'll
All right. Any
feel better.
questions or thank you. Yeah, I was feeling a little under the weather this morning, friends. But it is good to see y'all, yeah. And
I got to get off with Mercedes.
awesome. We'll see you
Okay.
soon.
Yep.
All right. Between Amy and Dr. Jamay, who wants to go next? Dr.
I am
Jamay?
actually on a work call at the same time, but I'm just here to get as much as I can. So
Okay,
thank you.
perfect. Of course, of course.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I bet you are sick, Megan, after all that partying.
I know, I know.
Like you
I
are out
see it.
of control.
I see why people needed to do the honeymoon after the wedding. I'm like,
Yes.
I need a week off. I was like,
You
whoa,
do need a week off.
I'm
I'm impressed that
exhausted.
you're here. I didn't think I thought you was gonna have a sub. So
You live and you learn. Thank you.
that's right. That's
It was
right.
the greatest day of my life. I'm not even kidding. Like people say that, and I thought it was just a load of baloney, and
Right?
it was great. We had so much fun. We had such a
Especially
good time.
so
It was
good.
just, I'm exhausted. Like I have, and I'm, you guys know me, I'm a high energy lady. To be like, it wiped me out is surprising.
I couldn't even imagine with just the pictures you share publicly. I'm like,
Oh,
that's just a fraction of Megan. I'm
yeah.
like, she was probably, it looked like you and Rob were going nuts. I was like, this is
And
way too
all
much
day
fun.
Sunday, we were also like entertaining people. We had a brunch. So I was just like, and then I like yesterday I was trying to get on the calls and I was like, I'm gonna die.
No wonder you're still sick.
It was a journey. It was a journey.
It's part of
But
the story. That's
of
right.
course, we got to keep it interesting. But it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm so, so grateful. But yeah, I'm exhausted. Like I need a vacation from the kind of mini vacation, but in a good way.
That's right. That's
All
right.
good things.
That's
Hey,
right.
what review? What has been going on for you? Give us a win. Tell the people of the Facebook group who you help, and then I can give you any coaching on anything you need. And don't mind me while I eat a saltine.
Sure. A win. I should always come prepared with a win. Why do I not come prepared with a win?
I know. Well, tell people
I
who you
met a
help.
lot of cool new people in one-to-one networking. So that's great. I mean, that's a win. I love meeting new people. So that's for sure a win. And my calendar, I feel really like productive because my calendar is now, like since we talked, I have my calendar is so active, like I'm interacting with real humans.
Oh
So
my God, you're amazing.
so that's definitely a win.
I love it.
Yes.
And productive. And tell people who you help.
Yes, I am Dr. Jamay Fisher. I just go by my first name. Well, actually, it's my middle name, Dr. Jamay, and I am a coach, a business coach, and I work with people on helping them with elite networking and prestige positioning so that they can reach their goals, like selling their packages, like selling luxury, selling their signature work, getting their dream job, you name it. I'm your girl.
That is the best you said it. That's the best you've said it in months. I love it because we didn't not once was brand mentioned, and I'm so proud of you.
That's right.
We gotta
Thank
get
you.
because I was so Dr. Jamay is in marketing systems, and one of the things that we were talking about is when you have the word brand in things, it makes people think graphics and you're going to do my website and what font should I use? And that is not you. You do elite networking. You help people create a strong reputation that they want to buy from. That is your zone of genius. And I think it's just like so exciting to have the marketing match, you know?
It's so much fun because it's so it's so accurate how that is, because when I went to a speed networking, one of the people in my mini speed networking group, she does brand work, and immediately people went to fonts and graphics, and she was like, yes, that's exactly what I do. So I
Right.
was
It's
like,
like,
that's exactly where most people, even if you say personal brand, I still think that they feel that way. So
yes.
I'm glad that we dropped that word. I was never a big fan of it anyway, but I'm kind of a little bit of anti-establishment and a maverick in that way. So I'm glad we don't use that. But yeah, prestige positioning does it all. So like it
That
takes care of it.
and elite networking. Like,
Yes. Yep.
just love it.
I
And I
agree.
want to hear, what can I give you some coaching on? Can I help you?
As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to talk about today is
Okay.
networking, because one thing that I did recently, and it's actually another event this afternoon, is an online workshop. So I've been to online workshops before. They're not the same. Like oftentimes they are very like focused conversation. Sometimes they have the chat open, sometimes that they don't. And so in the past, okay, I'll make the question short. So I'm trying to figure out, should I go to networking, because I haven't had much movement around that. Not networking, but a workshop. And if I go to this workshop, what might I do differently? So first, I'm trying to decide if I want to go to the workshop.
Okay.
And then I should have a strategic plan, which is one of my pillars, strategic planning.
Yeah.
Strategic plan either with yes or no. Like, because I haven't been to workshops because I don't really have a solid strategic plan around it that is really helping me feel like I'm serving my community that well in doing so. Except if it's like research. So, but I don't really think that I need that. So,
I don't think you do either. And I love the fact that you brought in like the strategic planning behind it. Whenever we want to say like yes or no, I think it's helpful to have a filter and a plan, like for everything. So with workshops, the reason why I go to workshops, if I do ever go to a workshop, or even like consuming podcasts and things like that, it's to actually learn something. Like I'm doing it to learn something usually, and or I know that somebody's probably going to try and sell me on something. So it's because I might be interested in their offer and I'm like wanting to hear a little bit more. So for me, that is kind of like my idea behind doing and going to workshops. Workshops, especially online. Like if it was an in-person workshop, I think it would be easier for networking because then you actually like go, you're sitting with people, you make small talk, you find out about their businesses. Then I feel like it's a better outlet to bring in people. But I do think that it's hard when it's an online workshop because you're not really like sitting next to somebody in an auditorium, you know? So I think if the goal is to learn something valuable, great. What's the workshop on though?
the workshop is actually on professional brand, which is basically personal brand. So I don't think that I don't feel compelled like as a learner. So if I were to go in with the learner stance, I don't feel compelled as a learner to go
Yeah.
to the workshop. I used to go to online workshops to like learn something maybe and to meet people, but it is really difficult to meet people at virtual workshops. Like I tried it and it just was really difficult, and it just didn't, I don't know. I was like, well, maybe I could try it again because I could do it differently, but it just, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. Usually I go with the learner stance when I go to workshops or to buy. I'm a buyer or a learner.
It's me too. I'm like, if you want to learn or buy something, great. If not, skip the workshop. And you know
Yeah.
about personal brand. I think that if we're thinking about bringing in more of your people, we should probably do networking in like actual networking events. I think that'd be more helpful.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of networking events and one-to-one like networking chats and coffee chats and things like that. And that's always a fun place just to talk about my business and listen to other people talk about their work too.
Yeah.
And so it is really a different conversation. And I almost didn't go to an in-person workshop, but actually I do want to go to this in-person workshop because you and I talked about it before. Remember, they have amazing merch. So,
Yes, yes. And it's like it's like okay, so we've got like so many wins. It's like okay, we got merch, we get to go and talk to people. It's like win-win. Let's do that. I think the one
yes, yeah.
the
I
online
this
networking.
time I have a one-to-one set up with you, and I would like to do some strategic planning around that. But this time I will stay and talk to people, not get the merch and leave. So,
Yes, critical element. But I would say for the when is the in-person networking event?
couple weeks.
Okay, wait.
It's actually next week. My one-to-one with you
Okay.
is in a couple days, and the event is
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
week, all next week.
So what I would do is I would for an in-person workshop, just so people know like kind of like my well, if I'm going to a networking event, which I did go to many at the beginning, is I more so like went in and I would just tell people who I was and what I did. That's why your pitch is going to be strong. So I would make sure like the pitch is strong. Make sure you and not pitch, elevator pitch. So like it just being like, hey, I'm Dr. Jemay. I am a business coach. I help people to create do elite networking and build prestige positioning. Who are you? Tell me about yourself. What do you do with your business? And then that's going to get people to be like just talking to you and telling you about them. And it's like, okay, that's amazing. Like, tell me, and who's going to be at this event? Is it mostly interior designers?
Next week, yep, interior
Wait.
designers.
So then you want to be thinking about like who's there and what kind of questions do you like. I would almost come up with a queue of questions and like think about, okay, what would these people be interested in? Like talking about, like, if you're an interior designer, you probably like what are the things that interior designers like to talk about? You want to be the most interested in them person at the networking event.
Mm-hmm.
So like what kind of things do interior designers like to talk about?
They don't like talking, most of them don't like really talking about business systems all that much. So
Probably not.
they do like talking about like inspiration, like where they get their design inspiration from. They like to talk about like maybe the newest, latest, like kind of like chandelier and lighting. They like talking about lighting. So,
Okay.
like, I went to a whole workshop on lighting. I'm like, I know more about lighting than I probably need to, but
Ever needed to know. Well, I think that like so it's like okay, we know what they like to talk about is like the design elements itself, and we know we don't they don't typically like to talk about business. Most people who are business owners, I've found, don't like talking about business. They mostly like talking about what they do,
their
you know?
craft, yeah.
Um, so with that being said, we kind of have to bridge the gap between who like it's like they've got the interest in the business side of things or in the like design type of things. If you ask them something that's too direct, like where do you find your clients, they're going to think that you're trying to buy from to make them buy you from you, you know? So it's like kind of like a fine line when you go to like a networking event. You can go totally, so it's like this is what we talk about like with touch points. There's cold touch points and then there's hard touch points. I would say where do you find your clients is a hard touch point. Like or it's like a medium hard touch point. It's like we're getting a little too like businessy. So you want to think about like cold like a more cold question, like how long have you been in business? Um been in business.
I also like to ask them, have they been to any interesting sessions, maybe? So
That could be
that
fine.
would do.
Um I'm thinking it could be okay. Been to any sessions. I think that as long as you start with like an opener that's like shared relatability, like I would say, okay, so what I would do instead of saying how many sessions have you been to, I would go in and start talking about like, when did you start your business is a better question. When did you start? Okay, so we want to think about better, like, because instead of like the interesting sessions, that's like building for the it's just literally like exactly what we do online for Instagram or any social media. So it's like you want to, I think for you, a better question would be like, hey, it's like so nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Janae. I have now transitioned in this phase of my life. I used to be a professor, but now I am a business coach and I help people build their businesses through elite positioning or elite networking and powerful positioning. Um, how did you get started with your business? This is where in the in-person events, like it's like, did you go to school for interior design or did you start as a passion project? And then they'll tell you get started with their business. It's like in usually this is very clear distinction. For people online, we want to ask yes or no what's called closed-ended questions because online people don't want to think, especially because like you're going to be talking with them and you'll be like they just want a simple answer. They just want you to be like, hey, like here's a simple response, here's a just a quick thing. But on in person, you can ask more open-ended questions. So you can be like, how did you get started with your business? Tell me all about it. It's like, because I know that like I'm hearing from so many people, it's like some people actually started in school, but other people actually went and just like kind of started because you thought you were good at it. What made you decide to start your business? So do you see how that's open?
Yeah, I like that a lot more too. I didn't think about the common ground questions. I always thought about just like learning more about them because I am kind of nosy in that way about them. But I like
Yeah.
the idea about the common ground because then it gives me an opportunity to share also. And that's one of the things that I would like to focus on a bit, not overrunning the conversation, of course, but it being more of an exchange. And it's easier for me to exchange with them if I have a common ground.
Yeah, versus being like, have you been to an interesting session? It's like, that's good. You can probably tell them about the interesting sessions, but you're not getting to actually know them a little bit better. It's like, and then you could be like, oh my God, that's amazing. It's like okay, I love HGTV. I'm very obsessed. And actually last night, HGTV and the Food Network, I are my favorites. Actually, for my bachelorette, we went to a place that Guy's Grocery, or a girl that was on Guy's Grocery Games, like her restaurant, and she was also on Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, and I was like thrilled. I was like, I'm living the dream. Seeing Guy Fieri in a picture, I was like, wow, we're truly thriving. But I think that like then you can get into like more open-ended questions, and if you're doing like online like DMing, start with closed-ended questions. I'm putting online. So, oh, sorry, I totally messed with the formatting of my notes. Also, I'm gonna put these notes in the chat and I'll put them with the replay in the Facebook group. I saw the congrats again, Amy, and I'm like, hey, thanks. But we have like online DMing, closed-ended questions. Now for coffee chats, it depends on like how the coffee chats are kind of intended. But so actually, let me go back to the in-person networking event. So it's like, this is when you get into the small talk and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. How'd you get started with your business? Tell me about that. Okay, I started as a professor. This is where I've been working. It's like crazy how we get started with these things. When did you actually decide to open up your doors? When did you open up your business? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I started my business in the pandemic. What a crazy time to be alive. I know a lot of us started our businesses back then, and that's insane. And then think about like how we can get to know, this is what we can start to really like, then you might ask, it's like we want to start with open-ended question, and then we might move open-ended soft touch questions. I've never actually explained this before, and I kind of almost need to do like a whole podcast about this. I'm so glad that you asked this question today. And then you want to get into open or closed ended medium touch questions. And then this is when we can kind of test the waters. And this is when we can kind of start to talk about business and see if they bite. If they seem like they're like instantly, if you're like, okay, let me ask you a little bit about it's like I know a lot, you could say something like I know a lot of things have shifted this year with like the economy. Are you still bringing in clients like they used to? I know a lot of people that I work with and know it's been a big shift in 2025. Have you seen the shift, or it's like has your business like been doing okay? And see if they're like this is where reading facial expressions is going to be key. And you're going to go in and you're either going to be like they're going to be like, oh my God, yeah, things have been so hard. Or they'll be like, yeah, no, like business is fine. And then you're like, then you immediately go back to close or like the soft touch. Then you immediately are like, they are need more time to get to know me before talking about my business.
Mhm.
And so it's like ask, and then like you're really gonna have to read them and be like, they might be really put off by me asking this. And then you can be like, yeah, it's like, well, hey, I know things have shifted a lot for me this year, but you know what? We're pivoting, we're making it work. Have you seen those? It's like they're pivoting and making it work, but I'm so glad that you're here. I think this is awesome. What's the topic of the in-person event? Do they have one?
Yeah, it's actually called Texas Design Days. So it's just all special speakers coming to talk about interior design and their books and their work and like innovative things in the interior space.
Hmm. Then you can go back and then you can be like, oh, it's like so you can be like ask you can even ask like instead of like has it been hard for you this year? It's like I know that I get most where have you found most of your clients prior to this year? Were they all on they were all it's like I know I got most of my clients from like this one networking group and it was like amazing. Where do you find your interior design clients? I know my clients have found people like literally like at Home Depot or they also like collaborate with realtors. Where do you get your clients from?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Mhm. So it's like,
Because they will talk about that. Like some of them have done
okay.
it through socials and using Instagram and stuff like that.
Got all of mine through a networking event, but I've heard of people going through. So, and then I think that's a better close it like a medium touch point because it's not like, what are you struggling with? Hi, we just met. Tell me your darkest fears. It's like, no, we don't want to do that. It's like too much. It's like we've just met, my love. It's like you seem very, very kind, but like that went too far. So if you're like, oh my gosh, tell me about where you get your clients from. I typically get mine actually from networking events like this, but it was more so this actually one networking group that was all virtual. It was like literally all on in this Facebook group. That's where all of my clients came from at first, which is so cool. Where have you found clients from? I know my clients have found people from like social, other networking events, like literally everything from Home Depot to partnerships with realtors. And then they'll like talk about that a little bit. And then you go back to soft touch. And then we go back to like, okay, it's like, so what do you feel like your style is? It's like I feel like especially, and it's like I can't help myself. Like that's what I'll tell people sometimes is I'll be like, for me, I love talking about business, and I'm like I can't get enough. Obviously, like as a business coach, it's probably a good thing. So then I'll be like, tell me about like your style. It's like because I feel like sometimes when I help you with prestige positioning, that really helps me to get to know kind of like you, and I maybe I'll have some ideas for you. But do you see how I'm like, if their style is more like you, because you might come up to people at this event that aren't high end luxury, and you're like, have you ever thought about like doing a collaboration with somewhere like Home Depot? I know that like actually my aunt, I don't know if I told you this before, but she was thinking about getting into interior design. So I actually know some of these things from her thinking about it, but she did a Lowe's like the home care, the not the home, the like like Lowe's construction, the like Home Depot's kind of partner. or like competitor really. She did their kitchens. So she like just went in and was like, "Hey, do you have anyone who's doing interior design for kitchens? I would love to partner with your kitchen staff and just be like an option if somebody wants to work with somebody." And that's how she got some gigs. So they're not like super high end. You could be like, that could be an option. If they are more high end, you could be like, have you considered working with like this realtor firm that's in Texas? I know them. It's like, but like I would ask them like and give them ideas. This is where again, it's very similar to online where you're like, let me give you some value ahead of time. It's like, let me help you. It's like, hey, it's like, have you considered doing this? Have you considered like doing this? Like what ideas do you have for designers, and I can help you ask questions about it.
I actually don't feel like I have ideas for them, but I
Well, think
probably
about
do. I just have to mine it out a little
yeah,
bit here because I never talked about my work in this way before. So this is like stretching my
yeah.
brain a little bit.
Okay, let's think about it. Okay, so like if somebody tells you they're a luxury brand, what are some ideas you have for them to grow?
Well, definitely, I'm a big fan of thought leadership and like public speaking. So, like doing community-based events, like at certain like I don't know, sometimes like for certain PTAs, like if it's a certain community you want to work in, they all have like they usually have PTAs as far as I know. So like maybe asking the PTA, like, can I go in and like talk about how to design a safe playroom or something like that at a certain community. So usually it's around like what we call value ahead of time, but I think, maybe some people might call it like thought leadership or something like that and getting to know people in that way in partnerships. So partnering with
Yeah.
contractors, you talked about Home Depot, which I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So usually it's like partnering with like real estate agents. Because when I was selling my last house, my real estate agent gave me a list of a couple of interior designers. She was like, "You need an interior designer," and I had already been working with interior designs. I just never was a consumer of it. And no, my bonus son is an interior designer, so why would I consume it? You just have him come over and do
Like
it.
I actually have in the fam. It's like we have an interior designer in the fam.
Yeah. So, but that's
I,
an example too.
okay, so we've got PTA, partnering with contractors. What are some ideas? Let's think of like one more. And
Okay.
also, guess what becomes your post for this week?
That's the one thing I was gonna try to snag your ear on to today or later on if I got on
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
But so another idea would be my husband does like building designs. So they partner with interior designers to help them with the design of the building, like drawing the building. He does a lot of drawing. So basically the short answer is um, building companies. So this is probably why it's good to go to interior design events and see what they're talking about because I was at an event. It wasn't networking per se, but it was an in-person event where they had like a builder there talking to the group of interior designers. So that's another thing that you can partner with the builders, you could do like thought leadership with PTAs. So those are things that I think you and I talked about partnerships before is one of the things, and that's part of positioning. So
yeah.
partnerships is under the pillar of positioning or elite networking too.
I would say it's more so elite networking because
Hmm.
it's like, yes, it is the position of like where you're going, but I
Yes.
do think it's like, well, okay, I would say that like the first piece is elite networking to build the relationships, and then the positioning is like how you pitch yourself at those events, you know?
I didn't even think of it sequentially like that. I was trying to think
Hmm.
sequentially. I'm like, well, you have to be careful what networking groups you go to. You want to be careful where you put yourself in the rooms you put yourself in. So
Yeah.
not that it's like dangerous. You can always, especially if you're a certain size, but if you're really large, like 10 million plus or something like that, you probably do want to be careful where you put yourself, what groups you put yourself in. But if you're relatively small and you have a smaller brand, you can probably recover for something like that. But
Yeah.
elite networking, like you have to think about that too when you position yourself in certain networking groups. So that's why I said, with that positioning, you network with schools, like partner with schools. You want to partner with certain schools that'll help you both achieve your goals.
And maybe
So,
it's like, and I was a public school teacher, so I'm a huge advocate for the public school system. And there are definitely people who could pay that would go to public schools, but potentially private schools might be a better fit if they're doing more luxury design. If they're just trying to get their name, if they're like, hey, I just started my business and I have no idea actually where to start and find clients, then you might be like, what I would do is I would do some low cost, low lift, but do some, get your foot under get your foot on, get your footing, get some pictures and just start doing people for low cost, not free necessarily, but low cost flips and showing people before and afters. I don't know if you've considered using that in your marketing, but that's one of the things that I would say does really well for interior designers is a good before and after. Who doesn't love a good before and after, especially for
mhm.
design? And then that gives you the content. And while you're making the content, one of the things I do, and I don't know if you want to talk to them about this, but like for prestige positioning, if you're like, if you ever think about like, I was actually thinking about this randomly last night because I was watching, it was like Resort Showdown, but I was like, oh, it's really helpful to like think about like even a time, like there's so many, if you do one before and after, that's like a one picture for content versus they could get multiple things like being like, here's how I think about designing this wall. Here's why I chose to put this here. Here's why I like the balance here. Here's why I chose this fabric for this building is because this fabric elongates the room. The reason why I chose to do the accent wall color up the from the wall to the ceiling is because you need to, if it's a short room, you want to create an optical illusion so it visually draws the eye up and creates a like almost like an illusion of a larger space than it actually is. But like they could talk through those kind of decisions and design things in their marketing and be like, I would get those pictures, get those videos, get that as soon as possible. So that way then other people can see what you do and then they start to trust you. But that's like ways that like you can be just brainstorming and building ideas for them. So like, wow, Dr. Jamae has like so much value. It's like, wait, okay, do you actually help people do this? And I'm like, yeah, no, I work with people one-on-one. If you ever need any help or if you know of anyone else that could use some support, I'll send you over my consult link. And like I'll just talk about like what other visions, I'll think about it. And during our consult, I would just tell you other ideas I have for you. We would go over kind of like if you know how to network, your positioning and other, and if you have a strategic plan, and then I would tell you where I would fit in. But like, look at how good this is. Do you see how casual it is? But it's like, yeah, this has been so great to get to know you. It's like, of course, I don't want to keep you too long. Of course, we both want to like get to know people. So definitely reach out. Here's my card. Here's my information. And I can't wait to see you. Maybe if we do a consult. I was like, I would love that.
I like that. That is very like, because when you're role modeling it here, you are intentional about making sure you talk about what you know and what you do in a certain way.
Mhm.
So, and that's often not what I do. I don't think I will have to really start evaluating that more. And that's probably something I can think about with my next one-to-ones or like when I do this,
Yes.
and especially this interior design one, because I guess I've been hanging out in their world intentionally for like a year now.
A whole
And
year.
yeah, and I haven't really thought about how their work, like how we can find common ground, not necessarily around business, because that's my go-to thing. Like I always talk about that. I like it. So, but
Right.
they don't necessarily talk about it in that way. So I never really thought about like talking about the things that they like that I can talk about my work, strategically talk about my work with them too. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
okay.
be like, you can even like do a little bit of name drop, be like, oh, I've worked with some really big brands and like, don't say brands, say businesses, businesses, not brands. We
Businesses.
got to
No,
get a brand out of everyone's head.
these are
But I
big
would be like, I
names.
worked with some really big names and like, if it works for them, hey, it could definitely work for you too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm actually interested in working more in the solopreneur market because I just find it so interesting to like, that's why I started doing one-on-one coaching. It's like I can do consulting for large companies all day, but I find it really interesting to like think about how to like get smaller companies growing,
Okay.
you know?
Okay. All right, this is
This
good.
is so good. Okay. And
Good
you've
job.
got the notes here. If you have any questions, you let me know. But this was awesome. And if anyone else has any questions, let me know, or I will see you on the next Facebook Live on next Tuesday. All right. Bye, everybody.